Right. Okay, so the infinity. Now, I've been thinking about this for a long time, since I was about 4 years old. I remember asking certain adults that were around that what is outside of this universe. And this universe is so big. You've got the Big Bang where it began, apparently, and it reaches a certain size and maybe then contracts back, or it just runs out of energy. Or okay, what happened before the Big Bang? Because you can look at it in terms of we're bamboozled. We're humans. We're like of limited consciousness, and we live in a world that's we're bombarded by all this matrix sort of mentality. We're brainwashed. In school, our parents are brainwashed. Um, this is what I think. When you've got all this stuff going on, the reason your parents won't talk to you about the truth, even if they know it, is because it's so demoralising. They don't want you to be demoralised. They can't help being natural. They know a lot of the time they know they've been deceived, you know, but they don't really know what else to do about it, and they know that they want to keep the race going, and they know inside that they know what's going on. So, they've been through all this shit. So they reason that it's okay to have kids because even if you put them through all the same shit you've been through and lie to them and whatever, they can still work out the truth. So there's that element. There's not much to go on anyway. Infinity. Um, okay, the Carlos Castaneda books. A lot of the information in there is about getting out of the matrix. Um, he talks about things like getting rid of your everyday sort of friendships and erasing personal history. Um, because basically, what you've been taught and the way you've been programmed is to be a slave to the system, to be stuck in the system, so that you basically can't see outside the box. And the box could be looked at in different ways. Like, I mean, this whole universe can be thought of as the box. So I remember asking questions to my like adult like peers, not peers, whatever. I don't know the people around me that were like my adult friends that were friends of my parents that were around when I was growing up. When I was about 4 years old, I said to them, "What's outside this universe?" And they just told me to shut up. Don't be stupid. Don't ask stupid questions. But there's a problem with all this Big Bang theory. Where did the Big Bang come from? You know, it's sort of like it just some God particle. Where did the God particle come from? There's all these whys and wherefores, and where did it come from? These questions. You can just keep asking the questions back and back and back. What's outside the universe? Um, it's the astral plane. The physical plane is like the small little like nucleus, and the astral plane is the space, is the infinite. And this universe is just a tiny, tiny little fragment of the infinite. And it's contained within a field of energy and field of possibilities and waves and frequencies that contain it and make it what it is. Um, some people have liked to attribute this to God. God is what does this. But my understanding, having really seriously thought about this, is that you can't really know that for sure. Infinity would make this world as it is anyway. The idea of a god is kind of neither here nor there. It's irrelevant, really, in many respects. Okay, so right, when science tries to look at this stuff, it's looking at the physical world. It's using physical things like physical equipment. It's not using the consciousness and the human sort of spirit so much. The reason we need to use that is because we need to be able to contact the astral plane and put this universe in perspective for what it is. See, the the idea that this universe could somehow exist on its own is just completely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Um, People have been lied to and deceived. You know, these religions, they all start with a line like "in the beginning," which implies there was nothing before that, which is just doesn't make sense. You know, the infinite in itself is self-evident. You just have to think about it, and you realise that what there must have been something before. Nature abhors a vacuum, so there wouldn't have been nothing, you know, and no time before this universe. It's just it's as far as I'm concerned, it's unthinkable. It's such a ridiculous idea, and so many people have fallen into this trap. They've been deceived by these religions that need to tell a big lie or make a big assumption right from the beginning in order to draw you in. You know, so they always start off with a big lie. This is something to think about and to look at religions with that in mind. You know, they all start with something. They often have to, in order to draw you in and make it all, you know, like you have to suspend your disbelief. It's like with movies and stories. Stories always have a beginning and an end and a middle. Life isn't like that. You didn't just begin when you was born. Lots of things led up to that. I mean, you can't even begin to trace it back. There's no end to it all. If you think about it and you're honest, there's no end to it all. It's the same as above, so below. You know, there is just no end to it all. You can't fathom it out. It doesn't. None of it really makes sense in the way that like a story makes sense. Because we're dealing with the infinite, and there is no beginning of it, and there is no end. Okay, this is another little part. I just thought I've got to stop here because I could just go on and on, just like infinity. I'm observing infinity and causing a description. There's no point in the description going on and on. I'm just observing the main points, the main landmarks, if you like.